Hey guys, good morning. Good morning. Listen, I think that last lesson was kind of cool. This idea of hell and stuff like that. Do you know that when they're talking about things that are evil in the world, they of course we can pretty much we understand what evil is, but what drives evil, what gives it what it takes to run around like that, and that is a mindset allows someone to be evil. And most all of us have this mechanism in us to judge what is right and wrong. But we always get this spot every now and then where we feel like we have to lie in order to save someone from doing something. Well, these lies and stuff like that are all, they say they all stem from the devil, Satan. He's the one he's the liar. So the idea that all the bad guys in the Bible have red hair, and even that the devil winds up being red in the long run, it's really just the beast side of us. And this is how they used to portray things like that. This animal thing that's half animal and half human. All of these things, all of our basically the what's behind us. What I have behind me, the zodiac. All of those are anamorphics or something like the zoomorphics, or the idea that man and a monster, or man and an animal, and so it's really showing us that that we at one time, that's what they're looking at. It's our animal nature. We do have an animal nature. And so that's called our lower conscious. And what rules over the lower conscious is a frequency. And this frequency is a low frequency. And anything's allowed to go in it, but it also comes in duality. And so it always, whatever you make up, something's going to not like it. Whatever someone doesn't like, someone else is going to like. It creates this wonderful little reality of, of opinions and stuff and ideas, and but then a certain group of ideas can be stronger and larger than others, and these become more strong. These are thoughts of the men, and then when they're coming together as a group of people, they get stronger and stronger. Like Muhammad, if he wasn't brought into this town just north of Mecca, where they claimed that if he could make it there, they would all worship this God, and do what they were told, that they would all submit. But they don't tell you also that, for the next, so many years, all they did was run around and conquer things. And it worked one time it didn't, but after that, it was just like free for all. They always won, and they claimed they had Allah on their side. And it's really just that the idea that, once you put a government behind a religion, that has all kinds of strengths, and you can make all kinds of things. And they say, oh, there's separation. No, there's never been. Please, I guess I just got to tell you that. So, what becomes the lower part is the idea of this outside world, and how it gives you the choice of doing this or that, but every now and then, there's this outside force that forces you to do things. Like right now, we've been forced for over 2,000 years to read our Bible from the outside, totally missing out on what it takes to clean up on the inside, because right now, these guys on the outside are raking it in over the shit that you and I store on the inside. And that's just this nature. They know it. This is like some, feeding the serpent, feeding this animal. And we could imagine this bloodthirsty, baby-eating monster. But that is, maybe we can manifest something like that once they've got the picture in our mind. But once upon a time, hell wasn't about inferno. Inferno is where you get cleaned. It's a type of purification and stuff like that. But inverno was what everyone used to know as hell. It was a place of contemplation, and it was cold. It was the lower parts of all of the scales here. It's from fall to winter, and that's where things were entombed. Everything went quiet except for evergreens. And and later on we find out that we're the evergreens as well. But this was all hell back here. This was the story of Little Red Riding Hood and mixing up with the wolf. It was all about this traipsing through winter, and being woke up once they made it over here to Aries. When hunters stumbled by and let them loose. So this was hell a long time ago. And Jesus, when he makes it up into Aries, see, he's born down here, and then he raises to Aries. And becomes the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world, because it's springtime, and sin used to be, cold and dark and hidden, and it was the underbelly it's the underside of the globe for us, because this is all a northern hemisphere. It's meant to be from the northern hemisphere. This is science somehow or another. It just happens to be the way it is. I guess you could turn it around upside down and see how it works. But you can see behind me, like, there's a little cross and everything, and the equinoxes, and down here, and there's a Southern Cross constellation where Jesus is hung on. It's just the coolest. It's just a nice little thing. But the devil with its red at number 5. It's a 5 senses red. Remember, the kids that come out red. Adam is red Adam. Adam is meaning the bloody earth. That's our skin. That's him. That's the devil. Baphomet. You let yourself do what you want. You can go in there and worship the devil and conjure up shit. I don't doubt that you can do that. I don't doubt it. But supposedly that if you do what we do or whatever I do, that we can run that shit off, and I'm not like going to go and get them or anything like that. I ain't going to chase them down. But demons in the Quran are actually things that keep you away from the Lord. Almost like the reasons why we are not getting the knowledge right off man, because of a demonic or a lower conscious rule over the truth, because it's not welcome here. And then again, they're not allowed to do what they want to do without having some kind of like, well, it was in front of your face all the time, you idiots, So it's kind of like a catch-all. But the horns mean strength. When the emotions hit you, it's pretty tough. It's strong. It's that sign of Gog and Magog. I get them mixed up. I've learned that they are the opening of the ceiling, but they also, there's a ceiling. Gog and Magog is when it crumbles. So to me, that's opening up, to going on the seventh, like the ladder. This is the top part, but it also could mean like everything falling apart, because from the north is where everything, is where the emotional side of us is kept. But if it's our emotions that our lower mind is connecting to, then you would see that the problem is stemming from our emotions. So that's where the red comes from, and the fact that he comes from the solar plexus, the fact that that the Bible says that Satan's seed is the third church, and I just happen to say that the third church is the solar plexus. Jesus is the sun place too, so they're in there together. There you're right and you're wrong. there's no real devil. There's only this idea that the man itself can become a monster. And through all of these religions, you got three monsters, you know, and they all hate each other, but they all still represent just one, which I sound like, well, it's just one lower conscious energy, and man is a part of that without any intervention from the higher side, even though all of these believe that they are absolutely connected to a higher thing that allows them to kill each other. You see, that keeps this fuel on earth. You know, I think that's why there's a wasteland all around here, and why we treat it like shit, because we tell everyone, or everyone is told it's the life after. This is the, don't worry about now. Worry about, you know, when you die, you have this place to go to. You do this. That's what all you kept hearing in this Bible and the Quran. Live for now. You kill for Allah. Kill for Him now. We'll take care of you. You know, and you know, you'll find that kind of zealot runs through all religious texts, all religious things. But when you know that the Old and New Testaments are really just the same information that you get from Buddha and Krishna, and that has been handed down through the eons to us now as religion, where we are blind to what we can't see and our ears are plugged up. Well, when the ears are unplugged and the eyes are starting to work, and you see this stuff going on, what do you do now? Where are you? You know? Are you still going to believe in a devil somewhere? You know? Are you still have this idea that heaven is out there somewhere? You know? You know, it's just, it doesn't work that way. You know? I'm afraid that, you know, if I take on any of those thinkings, you know, I lose my gift. You know? And I do call this a gift. I think it's kind of fun. But I can't take it as mine. You know, I learned how to start reading the Bible by a guy named Phil Donahue. He's been doing it, you know, since way before 9/11 and all that stuff. You know, I only caught on to him about 5-6 years ago. But you know, there's a few other people out there too. You know, they get into these odd, these crazy things. You know, the Eye of Horus, and they get into the more mechanical parts of this. But you know, it's just as simple as the way I teach you. It's just as it should be and is, because it didn't come to people that were really smart. It came to people that didn't know it and understood that all they had to do was nothing. You know. So, but we'll talk about all this, because you know, this is the 12 tribes of Israel. This is Jacob's sons and daughter, and it's also the clock. You know, so it's the 24. It's the council. Remember, you know, the council. So you know, you can see everything is in 4. You know, you can see this is how we would work our worlds. The number 4. You know, all of those are influences on us. You know, if you were born at a certain time and you became an Aries and you was affected by a Mercury rising, and there was a moon in this house, and you know, Venus was rising and Scorpio was over here, you know, that tells you who you are. This is what it talks about, you know, and we've been told not to do that. That's devil, that's a demon, you know. So our whole idea of God, devil, is like Dante's hell and the gnashing of teeth and stuff like that, you know. What Jesus and what our Bible tells us about the devil is a tempest. It's he's a tempter, he's a trickster, and he runs this whole world around us. He gives it to you if you want it. That's what they say, you know. Well, what is it to take in the whole world and lose your soul? So that's the idea, you know. It's not some devil that comes up to you. It's this lower mind in our heart along with it, cleaving to the wife and to the lower nature, just because it's it's our animal nature to do it. And it happens to be like what the soul the soul knows what God's like. It does. Let's not put that away. But while it's in the body, it's been granted a man, stupidity. It's been so it could go about its business, without having any, say so whatsoever, and experience life. And that's what the soul has this way of, it doesn't mind being trapped, but God says, hey, there's enough. You can go and have some fun, but you can come home, or things are going to go wacky. The further you stay away from me, the longer you stay away from me, the more things are going to go crazy. This animal side of you is going to come out of you, and who knows what happens then. And then if you can't clean out, you can be sickly, and this whole idea about being the person, being the physician that can go in and heal themselves, is now put in someone else's hands. And when you die, you carry this baggage with you, and then you die again, and you accumulate more, and because you're never cleaning out. So hey, if you don't believe in that, don't worry about it. Live for now. Your beautiful world is in the future. Yeah, believe all that. Leave this little world of ours deluded, while you run off to heaven, As far as I'm understanding, I don't think there's no heavens other than whenever it's in here, God says, in the book he says, what fools you guys are. You think that that the gold in the temple is more important than the temple, And it says without the temple, there'd be no gold. And I hope you understand that, those guys with ears to hear, But that's really how this Lord works, and we wouldn't have a devil neither, unless it is that you really want one, and then you got one. It's a state of mind. And it's a lower level of consciousness that deals with this, and it's the lower vibrations that it's mimicking. Because if you were to look at the studies of vibrations, that the lower the vibration that you get, the less patterns, the less anything. It's just really awful. It's just, well, not awful, but it's just it's a confusion. It's a mess. So you see, it's a reflection of this lower vibration, because as they raise the frequencies and raise the vibrations, that the sand on the surface begins to mute into beautiful patterns that mimic themselves, and then they get more and more involved, and more and more involved, and more involved the higher they go up. So this idea of frequency changes and frequency baths and frequency healing is not pseudoscience, Look at it funny. It's not pseudoscience. This is things that if you can reach inside your body and turn a certain thing on, you can do the same thing within yourself. And it doesn't have to do with, I'm in a polluted environment, I'm in this and that, It seems like it says, you just sit down and do it. But hell is a state of mind. It used to be a state of winter, a recess, a place of contemplation. It wasn't a scary place at all. So it's really what have they done with that, and they push it out in your face all the time as being really scary and awful and spooky. So, there's a big question mark right there where a lot of people, would actually put myths and stuff like that, But I don't doubt that there's some crazy shit, because I've seen some crazy shit that I've not been able to, pinpoint, and say, I could say that it wasn't God, I could say that. But, spooky shit. But I don't really like to go in that route, My mom used to do that when we were kids. She used to do that. She used to bring that Ouija board out. But anyways, I just want to let you know, hell is what you make it, and these people, going to welcome Sharia law. That's going to be some hell on people. You know, it's hell on the women. If they're taking the Bible seriously, they're being like these zealots. They're being like, you know, we give you the Bible. We gave you Jesus. We gave you Moses. And you decided still to worship a bull after we told you not. You know, it's like they're taking advantage of everything. We told you not. You guys, everyone, you're all fucked up. You know, we're all out to kill you now. And so you'll see that that's pretty low conscious. That's pretty low conscious once you find out that our God, what is God, what is considered God in the scheme of things, he's a creator. He's not a destroyer. The destroyer comes from his creation. That's you and me. We're the destroyers, you know. And, you know, he gives us this idea to go up there and take that red side of you, leash it to the other side, and you'll be okay. That's all. That's all it says. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to do nothing else. You don't have to kill for him or nothing, you know. So, take care of yourselves. I'll see you later. I go to work. You know, I just thought I'd said hi and good morning, and I love you.